Alright, I have no complaints, honestly. I've taken way too long on this. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain. But I guess the one thing is that I was trying to work on an RPG review and that was taking too long. And then I decided after like, I want to say like 2 weeks, I decided let's do another one. Let's just do another one while I'm doing this one. So yeah, I started it and well, yeah, procrastination pretty much. So honestly, I had this script done for like a couple weeks now. So yeah, let's just get on with this. Alright. I've shown this off like in like a 5-second clip from another review, but let's actually give this one some actual attention. If you've actually paid attention to the racing game, the kart scene, all that, you know what this game is. If you're about as old as I am, you've more than likely played it. If you haven't, get it. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about a game that had a remastered trilogy. With now a new remastered kart racing game. Everyone, this review is about Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Let's begin. Let's start at the beginning with the original. CTR was first released on September 30th, 1999. It was developed by Naughty Dog for the PlayStation 1. Development began soon after they received approval from Sony and after finishing Crash 2. The engine was also developed at the same time as Crash 3 was in the works. During development, Oxide wasn't going to be an alien, but was going to be a human scientist that wanted to make the world spin faster. That would have been just as interesting as a story if it was implemented. They decided to change him to an alien since they've already done that combination as a boss. In fact, it seems like they were trying different looks before deciding on making him an alien. Which I actually don't mind, it makes Oxide look interesting. One thing to note during this time is that the engine for the original did have its own issues. Oxide wasn't intended to be a playable character because of memory limitations, and these limitations also affected the rest of the character roster. Polar and Puma were going to be in the same kart, and Komodo Mo was going to be in the game. Unfortunately, they were forced to separate Polar and Puma and pretty much scrapped Mo from the game. The game received high marks when it was released, and I actually picked up the game a few years later. I spent hours on the game. It was one of my favorites in the PS1 lineup. I wasn't that good at the game as I am now, because I wasn't one of those who would try to complete the game from start to finish. Well, not yet anyway. I remember finishing Adventure Mode, beating all the cups on all difficulties, and just straight up having a great time. Only thing I didn't do was the time trials. Never really thought it would be important in improving how I played through the tracks, since I never really had anyone to play it with. I just raced with the hard difficulty, messed with the cheat codes, and replayed Adventure Mode just because I loved reading the character epilogues. Fast forward 2 decades and 2 more sequels to June 21st, 2019. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled releases, being developed by Beanox. Now the fun begins. I saw the trailer for the game in December 2018. I was ecstatic when the trailer dropped in my subscription feed. The memories just streaming back of when I played the original. My own rules about keeping myself spoiler free actually made me happy on my choice, because a week before the game drops, I find out about the Nitrous Oxide edition, which was an extra $20. But it gave me early access to not only Oxide, but a few other characters, the Oxide hover cart, skins, and a few other things. Oxide was finally playable to me. Then I read something else. Exclusive PS4 retro skins, carts, and a track. Remember, I only saw the first trailer. I didn't know about these. I know that I would have these in the base game, but it was enough to not only buy the Oxide edition, but to also support these developers in future content, and I can't wait to talk about it. Alright, story time. And it's pretty simple, really. Everyone on the planet is having a tournament, and Oxide shows up proclaiming himself to be the fastest racer. He'll only race the fastest racer on the planet, and if they lose, he'll turn the planet into a parking lot. One of the biggest changes they've done is how you'd want to start adventure mode. You can either go with classic, like the original game, or go nitro fueled, where you can change characters, cards, and have a set difficulty for the entire game. I'll talk about customization options later. The adventure mode has you going through 16 tracks in the hub world, where you have to finish in first place to continue. After finishing all 4 tracks in the world, you'll face the boss, each one using an item. You do this in all 4 worlds, then face Oxide. Once you've beaten him, he goes back to the ship, proclaiming he'll only race you again after collecting all the time relics. Getting the second race with Oxide pretty much means you've got 100% complete adventure mode, which means not only the time relics, but also all the CTR tokens, all the gems from the cup races. Once this is done, you unlock the rematch with Oxide. Even with 100% under your belt, there's still a little bit extra for those who love completing things. Obtaining at least the Sapphire relics unlocks the Sapphire paint job. Getting all gold will unlock the gold paint job and give you a nice 101% on the file. Then there is the final unlockable. By getting all platinum relics, you get the platinum paint job. Unfortunately, there isn't a 102% completion for doing this, but having this paint job is a job well done. Outside of adventure mode, you have many different modes to choose from. They also added plenty of tracks from Crash Nitro Kart, which was actually a surprise for me. They essentially doubled the content on day 1. There is also the amount of characters you can choose from. The original had 15 characters to choose from, each with a different driving style. Now the current number of characters is 56, with racers from Crash Nitro Kart, Tag Team Racing, and even some that everyone didn't expect to show up. And they are still adding racers with new updates. I'll explain that later. Every character has their own unique driving style, which are speed, balanced, turn, acceleration, and drift, a new style unique to Nitro Fueled. You would choose the character you wish to drive and use the driving style they have. I would end it there, but that was the way it was in the original. But Beanox did one of the best updates post-launch. The ability to change your driving style. Now you can change your character without fear of having to readjust in the middle of a race. You can still choose Classic to drive with a character style, so that is still an option. But I've actually become a Drift main, so I just keep it there myself. If 56 characters doesn't sound like much, then would you consider different character skins? Most characters can unlock up to 3 different recolors after winning a total of 25 races, each one unlocked at 1, 15, and 25 respectively. A few characters have some unlocked through adventure, and a few others have an extra recolor that unlocks at 40 wins. There are also legendary skins that can be unlocked through the pit stop. Each of these change how they sound during the race and change their podium animation. A majority of the characters you will unlock will be through the pit stop, but there are a couple that will be unlocked through different means. A few will be through adventure mode, but others are a little different. In fact, there are 4 characters that are unlocked through different means. One is a code, one is an adventure collectible that was added a few months post-launch, one is through time trials, and one is a hidden collectible in each track that was added post-Grand Prix. I'll talk about that later. It's not just characters that can be customized, you also have different cards too. A few are adventure mode unlockables, but most of them are through the pit stop. Most of them do look nice, and there are a few that I love using exclusively. You can also change the skin, paint job and wheels of these karts. There are so many combinations that you're likely to never see the same kart combination twice. Now I will bring up an annoyance. I know it's not really Beanox, but there are a few promotional karts that either can't be obtained now or are very difficult to get. There are two variations of these karts, but it is an annoyance if you want to have everything. Alright, let's quickly talk about the pit stop. This is the in-game shop for the game, where you can unlock most of the characters, their skins, karts, decals, stickers, and wheels. There is a lot, and all characters cost 2,500 coins each. I'm going to say it now, you can get all of this from just playing the game. You can buy coins with actual money, but it honestly doesn't take that long to grind some coins, especially with the current updates that game has. Beanox has made grinding coins easier as time passed. You can easily earn an average of about 250 coins in one race during the weekend, especially with both the 1x 5x multiplier and the double online multiplier. Wow, that was bad. Then there's the gold Wumpa fruit that can appear in races. Just break the box that it spawns and grab it for an extra 200 coins at the end. Then there are the challenges, which earn you an extra bit of coins for just completing them. The online multiplayer is one of the biggest draws for me. I've played this game by myself for so many years, being able to race against actual players was one of the biggest points for me. It's so fun to finally challenge myself against actual players. Just racing against someone shows me not only what I need to do to improve, but also forces me to learn how to drive through the tracks and learn their shortcuts, and actually do time trials. There are a couple of issues with the online mode though. It seems like there is a peer-to-peer system, so if the host leaves, everyone is kicked out. There is also the issue of a race not starting and being forced to back out of the lobby because of it. These do show up, and it does take a bit of time to load into a new race that it does get annoying, but these issues don't really stop me from enjoying myself when it actually works. Plus the coin bonus isn't so bad for just playing multiplayer. I'm not gonna lie, I may have gotten a little bit competitive during these races. The gameplay for CTR is a bit different from other kart games. There are still similarities with items and collectibles, but there are differences with those. For one, collecting 10 Wumpa fruit not only increases your speed, but it also changes how items work. Take the green vial for instance. The normal function of it is just an obstacle that slows down whoever hits it, but powered up, it becomes a red vial. This version doesn't just stop anyone who hits it, but it also has them drive slower, and if they had an item, forces a change on it. On the topic of items, Beanox also added in the 2 boost items into the race rotation that were originally exclusive to the original's battle mode. There is also the drift mechanic, where you just hold the jump button while turning to initiate a drift. Hit the other jump button at the right time for a boost of speed to initiate the drift boost. Racers do this for 2 reasons. One is the extra speed, and the other is to build up an invisible boost meter. This allows you to keep your boost for longer without drifting, and is used to keep the speed boost you get from boost pads that are on every track. Except for Slide Coliseum. No boost pads. This is one of those easy to learn, difficult to master tricks. You can drift boost the whole track no problem, but it's keeping the Sacred Fire and Blue Fire for a whole track that makes it difficult. There are many tricks and habits to learn to keep this up, and there are also other advanced skills that will improve how you can keep your speed. There are plenty of other videos that go into more detail and show just how to do these tricks. Sometimes I find myself just looking through these just to help me improve my time trials. Finally, let's talk about the graphics. Let me just say this. It's beautiful. The amount of detail they've given these tracks is amazing. I played this on the PS4 and the amount of detail they gave these tracks was mind-blowing. They took these tracks and they just gave them new life. So many little details that just makes everything pop. One of these days I'm just gonna drive through the tracks and see some of the background details that can just be caught by the corner of your eye during a race. The game is also on the Switch, so I saw a comparison video for that. And while there are a few details that don't show up, it still looks good on there too. Well, I think I got most of the details down. Oh wait, I mentioned post-Grand Prix earlier. Let me explain. During the first 8 months after the game launched, there would be a Grand Prix that would last a month. Each month, we would receive new racers, new carts, stickers, skins, quite a bit of stuff. But we would also receive a new track. All of this for free. There was also a Nitro meter we would have to fill up to receive some of these things throughout the month. Once the month ended, there would be an extra prize to those who are the top 5% of either the online leaderboards or the Nitro leaderboard, which is those who have received the most Nitro from the meter. Winners would receive the championship car and a decal related to the Grand Prix they won. As of March 2020, the final Grand Prix ended, and with that, the last track to be added to the game. Beanox has announced that support isn't going to stop for the game. The update following the Grand Prix added new racers and coin challenges in place of the Grand Prix page. Overall, I'm glad I participated on some of the Grand Prix when I got the chance, even making it my goal to get the champion car on the final Grand Prix. Now this isn't to say the car is gone. Now it has a new unlock method. Beat the Oxide Ghost in all tracks, except Retro Stadium for PS4 users. Speaking of Ghost, the last Grand Prix added the Velo time trials, which are faster than the Oxide time trials. When the Grand Prix ended, they added the developer time trials. These are pretty much near speedrunner times. If you're curious just how difficult these are, look up a couple of YouTubers who've actually done the developer time trials. I'm honestly a little scared to actually try these, especially since I still need 3 more Oxide trials before I decide to start the Velo ones. This update also brought back the Cup Race challenges, where you have to finish each cup on each difficulty to unlock a new paint job. Where the original had 4 cups, Nitro Fuel has a total of 10 cups to complete. This was actually something I did in the original, and I'm glad I was able to do it in this one. Overall, one of the best games to release for the current generation. Highly recommend it. Near perfect score if I really gave a care about giving out scores. There are a few bugs and hiccups here and there, but it doesn't stop the overall enjoyment of the game. If there is one thing I would like, maybe host migration, if I'm right about the peer-to-peer multiplayer. It's $40 for the regular and $60 for the Oxide version. Except for a few exclusive skins, everything in the Oxide edition can be unlocked through playing the game. So what are you waiting for? Pick this up, and I'll see you all on the track.